How's it feel to be a contributor, Veronica?
So do I invoice at the end of the month or per episode?
At end of the month's fine.
I'm just joking.
Usually, just ask Patrick Beja to remind you when he invoices. Because you know why?
I was born ready.
That's why. Wow. You can get that on a t-shirt, folks, at dailytechnewsshow.com/store. All right. I'm going to start the show. Are you prepared?
I'm ready to tweet. I'm so prepared.
Tweet away. Tweets away. Here we go.
Support for the Daily Tech News Show is provided by Patreons like you at patreon.com/acedetect. This is FPN, the Frog Pants Network.
This is the Daily Tech News from Monday, May the 4th. Be with you. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today in her first day as a newly minted DTNS contributor, co-host of Sword and Laser and regional parallel parking champion Veronica Belmont. How are you?
Hello. I'm excellent. How are you, Tom?
I am well. We did it. Or
We
they
did
did
it!
it. Actually, we didn't do anything. The bosses did it. And in fact, we want to thank one particular boss. I'm not going to embarrass him by naming him, but he sort of gave a little extra to push us over the edge. And he is going to scale back as the rest of you fill in the gaps. But big thanks to him and everybody who got us to the point where now we have regular contributors. Justin Robert Young, Patrick Beja, Darren Kitchen, and Ms. Belmont.
Goodness, I'm the only lady around these
well, we
parts,
got
other than
Jenny.
Jenny, of course.
Jenny's here every day.
Jenny is
yeah. So we'll have to make an effort to book some more ladies. Yeah, and that's the other thing is as we have regular contributors, we'll still be booking guests in. So it's not like you'll lose all of the varied faces of other people as well.
And hashtag pay talk. I'm getting paid the same as all the gentlemen, right?
Yep, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, that's true.
Pay equality.
There's definitely pay equality. Actually, I think Jenny and I get a little bit extra.
That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but transparency, right?
It's all about being transparent.
It's all about transparency. Are you ready as your first official act as an official co-contributor to read some headlines?
I'm ready.
The BBC reports on Facebook's announcement that it will open its Internet.org program to all developers who meet certain criteria. Internet.org allows mobile users to access certain services without incurring data charges. Net neutrality advocates in India have accused the service of picking winners and losers. We've talked about a couple companies who've withdrawn from Internet.org in India because of that. In response, Internet.org will allow developers to join the service without approval of them in any other way except proving that they're not doing a data-intensive service, so no video, that their service can run on feature phones as well as smartphones, which unfortunately means no HTTPS, also no JavaScript, and encourages exploration of the broader internet. So Mark Zuckerberg working really hard to say, I want to do zero rating right in a way that is as close to net neutrality as possible because he really does honestly think this helps more people get onto the internet and start using the internet in a broader way, which of course is better for Facebook.
He seemed very sincere about it in the video that he posted. I think that was earlier today or yesterday. So yeah, hopefully making some strides there. Engadget reports that Microsoft Office 2016 is now available for free public preview. You don't have to be a dev or even an Office 365 subscriber to test out the newly redesigned universal apps or to try out real-time co-authoring in Word, one-click forecasting in Excel, or access to OneDrive attachments in Outlook. Just go to products.office.com/Office 2016 preview or look for the link in our show notes.
Yeah, the collaboration on Word is getting a lot of attention because that is the one thing you can't do in Google Docs. You have to be in the browser to collaborate with Google Docs, whereas Microsoft Word, you can actually use the Microsoft Word software. How big of an advantage do you think that will be for people? I mean, if you already use Word, it seems like a big one, but I don't know.
It seems like a huge advantage, I think, for current Word users. I'm not sure if it's going to reach out to people who have kind of put all their eggs in the Drive basket, for example. But even Dropbox now is offering commenting and some like basic collaboration tools. So this could be definitely signs of things to come. And if Office does a really good job of this, it might be the thing that kind of prevents them from getting wiped out by these competitors.
And Dropbox partnering with Microsoft to allow you to open things directly in Office 365 from Dropbox files.
Smart moves.
Yeah, they're starting to circle the Google there. Which is very interesting. According to a post from 9to5Mac, the makers of Reserve Strap have confirmed plans to take advantage of a hidden 6-pin port on the Apple Watch. If you didn't know, where it connects, there's a hidden port. Where your strap connects, there's a hidden port. That means Reserve Strap doesn't have to use inductive charging, allowing quicker and higher capacity charging, improving durability, and eliminating interference with Apple Watch's sensors. The port is covered and hidden inside of that slot where the strap connects to the device. Reserve Strap will provide you a tool to access it. You can pre-order a Reserve Strap for about the price of an Apple Watch.
Yeah, it's like $250.
$249. And availability has not been determined. Once I was all for this until I got to the price. I'm like, yeah, a little extra battery life. Although, frankly, I have been trying out the Apple Watch for a little over a week now, and I've never had a run-in with battery life being an issue yet.
Yeah, I've gotten down to, I think, at the minimum 35% or so, but I mean that's at 11 o'clock at night. I wouldn't be using it for that much longer anyway. So I'm really excited about all the third-party accessories that are going to be coming for the Apple Watch. In fact, that might be the thing that makes me either keep it or lose it at the end of the day, depending on what kind of accessories show up. But I'm fascinated by what is going to happen with this secret charging port. I mean, if Apple's not making use of it right now, what are the plans for that? I mean, they don't just accidentally leave something like this accessible if they don't plan on using it. So I think it's very telling.
A lot of the theories I've read about people saying, oh, it was meant for in the factory and testing, I'm like, no, that thing gets covered in goo if it's meant for some kind of temporary testing. That thing is not there for everyone else to access. And then, of course, is this going to be the kind of thing that Apple silently tolerates, or will they make updates to the Apple Watch firmware that combat use of the port? I don't know.
That would be my next guess. If they don't plan on using it themselves, are they going to continue to let other people use it?
My guess is that they're going to put out their own strap that takes advantage of it somehow, but we'll see.
BizTech Africa reports Alcatel-Lucent and the Algerian government have signed an agreement to deploy 560 kilometers of fiber optic cable to link Oran, Algeria to Valencia, Spain. Upon completion in 2016, the cable will deliver an ultimate design capacity of 20 terabyte per second.
Terabits per second.
Terabits. I always, after 10 years of working in this industry, Tom,
that
I will
small
never
B,
get it right.
It'll trip you up every time.
Every single time.
I threw this story in our lineup because I've seen so many stories over the year of a single cable, often to Africa, getting cut and causing widespread outages. It's good to see that more and more cables are being developed. This one particularly is going to help Algeria and Algerian customers and people in that region. But I think it's significant that we're getting to a worldwide redundant oceanic Mediterranean cable world,
like we always hoped for.
I know it sounds weird, but yeah, you do. You want, you don't think about telephone cables under the ocean anymore because there's so many of them and they work so well. So. We want fiber optic cables to be like that too. Security researcher Luigi Vigneri and his colleagues at the French Graduate School and Research Center at Neurocom have developed an app that checks what sites Android apps connect to, according to the MIT Technology Review. The team did a study in developing the app. They say 10% of apps they tested, and they tested around 2,000 of them, connected to more than 500 different URLs. 9 out of 10 most frequently contacted ad-related domains run by Google. Not too many. I think only 30% were doing user tracking, although when they were doing user tracking, they were doing a lot of user tracking. They call their new app No Such App, and it goes by the initials NSA. They plan to make the app publicly available on Google Play in the near future. Good app to have, right? So that you know what your apps are doing when you're not looking.
Well, that's great, too, for people who are kind of concerned about security issues within Android apps, because I think that's something that iOS users don't necessarily think about quite as much because of the kind of stringent security testing that apps have to do before they're published on the App Store. But it's not really the same in the Google Marketplace. So maybe this will add a little more peace of mind to users out there who can check where that traffic is going.
It is. That's a good point, because it is kind of a matter of taste. With Apple, you're saying, I'm going to put up with the occasional blocking of an app I'd like, because Apple does that, in exchange for not having to think about the security of the app. Whereas in the Android, you're like, hey, I get to do a lot more cool things with apps, but I also have to take on some of the responsibility of checking what those apps do. So it's good to have another tool in that tool belt, no matter how you look at it.
Speaking of Google, Android Police reports Google Plus announced Collections today, a new way to group your posts by topic, or a way to curate your content by sets, if that helps, or a way to Pinterest on Google.
Okay,
Each collection, now you get it? All right, is it more clear? Each collection can be shared publicly, privately, or with a specific set of people, or I don't know why they just didn't say circle. Once you create your first collection, your profile will display a new tab where other people can find and follow your collections. Android Police dug into the code and noted that collections can be suspended for violating terms of service, including hate speech, illegal content, and copyright infringement.
Yeah. I can't decide whether this is a really good thing or a little bit too late. On the one hand, Google Plus has become a place where a lot of people are collecting their photos. And that could make something like this very handy if you really are using Google to curate your photos. On the other hand, it does feel like a couple of years ago somebody said, oh, we need to come up with a Pinterest competitor, and they just got around to launching it finally.
It does seem like a little bit late for this kind of idea. And actually, eBay did a very similar thing maybe about a year and a half ago.
I forgot about that, yeah.
They did do collections, and I was actually part of that launch program. But I don't feel like it ever really got steam. So I'm wondering, maybe I'm not sure why Google thinks that they could potentially do something better. But they do have the data there. They do have people uploading tons of different kinds of content, including their own photos and stuff. But I don't know. I don't know if I will use it. And I use Google Plus pretty regularly, but we'll see.
Yeah, I have noticed the interaction on Google Plus slowly declining. I was never one of the ghost town people, even 2 years ago. When all of the rage was to decry it. But I have noticed that participation seems to be, and maybe this is just anecdotally, but seems to be subsiding a little bit. And definitely Google Plus is being de-emphasized in a lot of Google's outward-facing announcements. Till now, with collections. TechCrunch got Facebook and Nokia to admit they're partnering to provide Nokia Here Maps to some Facebook users. Facebook confirmed it's testing Nokia Here Maps in Android versions of standalone apps like Instagram and Messenger. TechCrunch also discovered Here Maps being used in Facebook's mobile site. Facebook has been among the companies rumored to be interested in acquiring Nokia's mapping division. We're not certain Nokia is going to sell it or if they sell it to whom, but a partnership like this could be a step along that road.
I don't really have anything to add to that post.
Hey man, people don't understand that Here is a really, really well-developed, significant mapping system, because Nokia hasn't, for whatever reason, been able to strike the star partnerships that would expose it to people. But this could be the thing if Facebook does, even if they don't sell it, if Facebook starts using Here, that could be the thing that launches it into public consciousness, and it's a really good mapping system.
I remember it being really good and people talking about it working very well, so that's pretty much all I know about it.
That's all most people know about it, exactly. Let's take a look at our subreddit. The number one voted story on subreddit today was the internet.org story that we led off with today. Some other stories that were highly voted on. JMZ668 pointed out the Verge article at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com, and a bunch of you voted on it. Get in there and vote too. This Verge article has multiple sources saying the U.S. Department of Justice is looking into Apple's business practices regarding music services. Allegedly, Apple has encouraged major music labels to push Spotify and others to shut down their free streaming tiers. Apple has an antitrust monitor on its campus after it was found guilty in an ebook antitrust case last year. Apple's still appealing that decision, but the monitor's there. Don't know if that's the reason that the DOJ would be poking around in the music business. But frankly, Veronica, the music business has been looking for a reason to get Spotify and others to shut down the free tier already for a long time anyway.
Right, exactly. But this kind of stuff always makes me nervous because just how it works moving down the line is something that you don't typically think about a lot, but I was trying to download a Kindle book onto my phone the other day, And I was like, oh, this is so annoying that this doesn't work, that I can't just go into, on my phone, on the mobile version of my phone, buy a Kindle book, and then have it show up in my Kindle Reader. And I was like, oh, why doesn't this work? I was like, oh, because Apple did this. And it's always, you get a few months in.
Apple
6
would
months
say
a year.
because Amazon doesn't want to share the profits, but,
Yeah.
tomato, right?
I guess. But, however it affects you is how you're going to look at it at the end of the day. But, I think, Apple is gearing up, I think, to launch their own streaming music service down the road. So this could be something that they're kind of, getting the gear started on.
I'll tell you what, I buy and read Comixology comics almost exclusively on my Nexus 9 because I can just buy them. I don't have to go to a browser or go to my desktop or laptop. I can just buy them in the tablet, which I can't do on the iPad for the same reason. Because once Amazon bought Comixology, they stopped using the in-app purchase because they didn't want to share 30% with Apple.
We're so lazy.
Yeah.
This is the stuff that bothers us. We can't buy a Kindle book on our phone.
I
We
know.
have to
It's
go
first
to our
world
laptop. We're
problems.
so
Trust
lazy.
me. I get it. Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense. Once you're used to something working a certain way, you're used to that one click, get it
Well, and
immediately feeling.
eventually these sorts of things fade away. The things that get in the way of the ease of use may take a long time, but eventually they go away. So I know that that's what frustrates me the most is it's not going to be like this forever, but it is for now.
All right, well, moving on. Motang brings us this Guardian story that Twitter has disabled the feature that allowed you to play classic DOS games from archive.org embedded in a Twitter post. Twitter's policy prohibits gaming inside Twitter cards. No word on whether fun in general is prohibited by Twitter policy. Ugh.
You just did a real life emoji with your face. Yeah, I get it. I get it. You don't allow people to do games, and it would be anarchy if everybody could embed a game in Twitter posts.
Why?
Come on. This
Would
was
it be a security
archive.org.
thing? Is it a
Could be a security thing, and people doing ads and malware, and I get it.
Videos and,
I just wanted to play a little SimCity in my Twitter. Is that so wrong?
No, it's not wrong, Tom. It's not wrong.
Thank you.
It's not.
Finally, Indy Delis posted the Ars Technica article about a bug in Boeing's 787 Dreamliner jet.
Oh, good.
It's both terrifying and probably okay at the same time. The US FAA issued a memo last week that Boeing reports when the 787 has been powered continuously for 248 days, all generator control units go into fail-safe mode and lose AC power due to a software counter error. It's probably some kind of 32-bit error. If all 4 units were powered on at the same time, they could conceivably all lose power at the same time 248 days later, which, if in flight, would be a horrible thing. Boeing is developing a patch for the software. Meanwhile, the workaround is to turn off the generators and turn them on again before 248 days.
Is that real?
Once
Please tell me
again,
that's real.
the fix is, did you turn the plane off and turn it on again?
So that is real.
Yeah,
That's
that
a
is
real
real.
thing.
Yeah.
It's turn it on and turn it off.
Turn it off
and turn it on
turn
again.
it on again. At least once every 248 days. Probably more often is my guess, just to be safe.
The Dreamliner, man, what a bit of drama that whole thing has been.
The drama liner, more like it.
Drama liner's more like it. Nicely done.
You set me up perfectly.
I did.
And that is a look at the headlines. All right, we mentioned emojis there. Emojis are on the mind because Instagram engineers put out a post today about the use of emojis on Instagram. They've been supporting them on Instagram. They've been allowing you to search. They just recently allowed you to put them into hashtags. And so they were looking at some of their stats. Turns out Finland is the biggest user of emojis on Instagram. 60% of posts. What's that?
They're killing it. They're killing it.
They
with
are.
emojis.
Oh, I thought you said
Killing
something
it.
in Finnish.
Nope.
60% of posts from people in Finland contained emojis. 60%. They don't
pretty
post
amazing.
without an emoji in there. France, number 2, which, by the way, I believe that Patrick Beja of France's wife is from Finland. So that must be an emoji fest in that household. UK is 3rd. Germany and Italy follow behind that. In all, nearly half of comments on Instagram contain emojis. The crying while laughing emoji leads usage on Instagram. There's also, you can go to Emoji Tracker at emojitracker.com and see which emojis are being used most on Twitter at any given moment. It's very flashy, so they actually do a real honest-to-goodness epilepsy warning before you launch it. But right now, the laughing while crying emoji is leading on Twitter as well. And apparently on SwiftKey, the most popular international is a happy or sad face, depending on when. So anyway, this has launched a bunch of people reading and writing about emojis and what it means. Ben Brandstetter at Daily Dot argued that, wow, this is a step back. We moved from symbolic hieroglyphs to a more rich and full language with more precise meanings, and emojis are kind of a dumbing down of society. I'm totally summarizing, and he made better points than that, but that's kind of the gist of it. Whereas Owen Williams at The Next Web says, no, emojis are improving the way we communicate. So, Veronica, what do you think? Are emoji? First of all, are you an emoji user, and do you think they are helping or hindering our progress as humanity?
Well, I think both in some ways, because yes, I am an emoji user. I'm not a heavy emoji user, but I like that they're able to convey certain senses of emotion that aren't otherwise communicable sorry, that's not the right word. Easily communicated.
Right. I haven't caught any emojis from you yet. You're right.
No, not yet. In other parts of speech. And it is actually kind of counteracting something that a lot of people found very annoying, which is that kind of short text speak. You know, that slang
LOL,
that
JK.
people use in text speak. People are now replacing those terms with emoji. So is that better or is that worse? It's kind of a taste thing. I think in a workplace environment, we're increasingly seeing emojis to convey certain feelings about stuff that are, it seems in a way that maybe it's not an appropriate use case, but at the same time you're not missing the intent of an email, for example. So I'm not sure if it's like missing a period or not adding an exclamation point. Do you know what I mean?
I think that is an important part of the use of emojis, and probably a big percentage of it has to do with ameliorating the misinterpretation of tone in the written word. I mean,
it's like when we wanted people to use sarcmark back in the day. Now we have emojis that are actually conveying that intent. We talked about that. The sarcmark was a thing that was trying to be real, and it never came out. It never flourished. But emojis are covering all our bases in terms of emotion without any confusion, because they are essentially a universal language.
It is adding expressions to language, and I think in that case, I get what Ben Brandstetter is saying, although I do think it's a little bit of a, hey, I'm a good writer, why can't everyone be sort of position. He's saying, look, if you use language properly, then your emotion is conveyed with much greater subtlety and much greater precision than an emoji can ever give.
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't want to spend the time crafting my emails or my text messages to give the subtle implications of emotion that they deserve, when I can just do a winky face and that pretty much gets the same meaning across, and it's more efficient.
I mean, I was going to say it's not like we're writing Moby Dick an emoji, except that's actually a thing that
Except
happens.
someone's actually done that.
If you go to emojidick.com, which is not what you think it is.
No, it's safe. Yeah, you can go.
Yeah, it's not purple eggplant.
No. Which, by the way, banned in hashtags on Instagram.
Yeah, so that's another thing we were going to talk about, is how Instagram banned the search of the purple eggplant because people were using it as a signifier for finding not safe for work content or naked content or stuff that would otherwise be difficult to find in a search. But you can't do that anymore, which is kind of sad, but also kind of funny.
It also shows the creative use of emojis as language, and I think that's the other part of this that caught my eye was emojis are a unifying language across different languages, right? So if you speak Mandarin and I speak, Urdu, I can send you a smiley face and you know what it means, right? Mm-hmm. Like, maybe I'm getting way too out there and all sci-fi, but this could be the building block of a future language. The way that our current, and Ben Brandstetter brings up the point, like the H that we use was originally an Egyptian symbol for fence, and then it was repurposed and repurposed and repurposed until it's now our letter H. That could happen with emojis. Emojis might be in the very beginning state of creating a universal alphabet naturally.
I think that's not a totally crazy idea, and I think if it worked once, it would probably work again. I think that there's definitely still situational use for emojis. I think that, you know, we're not going to be writing novels in emoji for real, other than to be like a cute kind of kitschy thing. Not at least in the next 10 to 20 years, I hope.
Not in the current emoji state.
Not the way emojis are now.
Maybe
I mean,
Unicom 358, not Unicom 7 or 8.
But, you know, it's becoming universal. You know, everything from
Unicode, I should say.
Yes, from Apple to Android to Windows to pretty much, if it can have a keyboard at this point, it's going to have emoji. And we're standardizing them and we're adding to them all the time. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's good to have that common language set across all different types of technology. But it makes you laugh, and it's kind of cheesy because they are so cutesy and they are so, you know, they're meant to be fun, but so people don't take them seriously. But I think there are a lot of interesting implications on what it can mean for language down the line.
Do you think ancient Egyptians got really mad when somebody used an H symbol to mean fence? They're like, just tell me fence. Don't you with your cute little symbols in the dirt, in the clay here. You know, I'm right here. Just talk to me. Stop looking down at your clay tablet and talk to me. Do you think they had the same reaction?
Maybe, probably no. Probably.
Kids with their clay tablets, always with their stylus in their hand instead of experiencing the world around them.
Just go outside and play in the pyramids for a little while.
Seriously.
Stop looking at your
We built them for
tablet.
a reason.
We took millennia to build them for a reason.
Appreciate what's around.
Get in there. I mean, the aliens took 5 minutes to build them. Appreciate them.
Yeah, exactly.
And
When the aliens landed them here, they didn't leave them here for nothing.
But, you know, it reminds me of these little, like, when I traveled to Japan, I had a little card, and on the card was pictures of all the things that I could want. There was a picture of a toilet, and there was a picture of a chicken breast, and there was a picture of, you know... Why are you laughing at the word breast?
That's the juxtaposition. You know, the essentials of life. Toilets, a chicken breast.
Well, if I point to a piece of food on a card, I'm asking for chicken. They know the context.
I get it,
They know the context, Tom.
It is kind of important.
Just hand me a chicken boob. Thanks. That is even a thing.
Yeah, but no, your point is well taken, right? Like, we have this nascent pictorial vocabulary that we use to cross language barriers.
I don't think it's going to make us dumber. I think it's in conjunction with existing language, and I think there's a time and a place, and I think there's nothing wrong with it. And yes, maybe for older people who didn't grow up with emoji or who don't text frequently, or, you know, maybe it'll be more difficult for them to integrate that into their, you know, written language. But, you know, for young people, I think there's nothing wrong with it. For us, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just it's a matter of use and a matter of using it at the right time.
It's no different than any kind of slang in a way. It's the sign of a living language. It's just in a manner that I don't think was possible to catch on the way it has before. And the fact that they're adding more emojis, they're adding skin tone to emojis in Unicode 7. They're bringing the taco and the middle finger to Unicode 8.
Emoji is so awesome!
Yeah, it just, you know, we grow into the tools we create is my position. So it's only going to make us dumber if we're getting dumber anyway. It's not the code, it's not the emoji that does it. And
we found different ways to be dumb with text speak, and so now we're elevating with emoji, perhaps.
I hope so. I like to think so. Our pick of the day comes from co-executive producer Another J. Martin. Thank you for your support, Another J. Martin. Says on DTNS 2473, Nate Langston talked about how he rips his music and syncs it with his mobile devices with iTunes. Speaking of streaming services and the difficulties in collaborating, he was like, I just don't even do it. I just buy CDs. Co-executive producer Another J. Martin says, if you want to do this with your Android, I recommend Google Music app. You can upload up to 50,000 songs for free, and you can either stream or download them to any device with the Google Music app. It's great if you already have a collection of ripped music and want to listen to it anywhere. And with All Access, you can actually add in some streaming music and get a little bit of that Spotify-like experience added in there. So thank you for the pick, Another J. Martin.
Everybody in chat is sending me toilet and chicken emojis now.
See, and it perfectly expresses what you were talking about. Also, I love that it's become toilet and chicken equals 42.
It's my everything. It's the meaning of life. Toilets and chicken.
Send your picks to feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com, folks. You can find my picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. Big correction to something I said both on Current Geek and this show. I was under the mistaken impression that California was one of the states where you could not send your electricity back to the grid. I was entirely wrong. There are states.
That.
Yeah, I know. There are states that will not allow you to do that, but Dan and Gary both wrote in correcting me. Dan said, I heard you state California doesn't allow you to do that. I live in Northern California. I have a solar home, and I can tell you that I can indeed sell the excess back. Take a look at California's net energy metering laws. There were some noises being made by both PG&E and Con Ed back in the day of limiting that or keeping the percentage of people who could do it fixed, but I guess those didn't take. So do you do this, Veronica?
We have been researching solar for a couple of years now, so we haven't yet done it. We have a funny roof shape situation. Plus, we have a dish up there for internet right now. So it's we're looking into it through a couple of different companies, and especially now with the announcement of the battery packs from Tesla. That's a big additional bonus for us. We're working on it, but we're not quite there yet. But yeah, I definitely know the ins and outs of what's going on with that.
We were talking about the Powerwall last week and how it really does work best with a solar installation. But Architect Tim wrote in and said another thing the Powerwall is an option for is a generator. I live on well and septic. When the power goes off, we can't flush the toilets. I think having a Powerwall in the garage is better than having a gas generator that I have to run once a month to make sure it runs smoothly. It would be nice if the power went out that my electrical system just starts off the Powerwall. No hassles. You really appreciate the things you have once they're gone. Those on city water can always flush their toilets when the power goes out. We got woods for number one, not so much for number two. Unless he gets a Powerwall. So yeah, I always think of that because my sister was not on city water when she first moved into the house outside of Greenville for a while, and they had to deal with that, running your electrical generator and making sure it's okay in case of a thunderstorm and the power goes out. Powerwall solves a lot of those problems.
Yeah, in fact, one of the reasons we haven't gotten solar yet either was because we were waiting to see which companies would be compatible with Powerwall or whatever. Ryan had an inkling, no insider knowledge, just an inkling that was going to be what they were going to announce. So we waited, and now it happened.
Adam works for an investment bank in global network management and wanted to comment on several statements around the unlimited use of the internet being made by all kinds of people. He sees his company's network as a microcosm of the internet as video becomes more common. He wrote, for example, content for the World Cup or Masters tournaments, because it's an investment bank, must be blocked for the stability of our network. But there's another side of this, the top talker. 90% of the time, network congestion is driven by a few what they call top talkers. They decide they need to fully replicate a database or backup during business hours, and we have a capacity issue. We can often address our capacity issues by changing their behavior. It's a great point Adam makes. I think what I always say is congestion management isn't best handled by putting bandwidth caps in place. They don't address peak usage. None of the bandwidth caps do. Whether it's a fixed bandwidth cap or whether you pay, for a tier of a certain amount of gigabytes, it doesn't encourage you to use less at the time when everybody's using it. It just encourages you to use less overall. And so he's right. You need to figure out a way to change the behavior. Now, there's some really interesting things going on with named networking out there where you would not use IP addresses, but use names to bring sort of a BitTorrent type system down into the networking layer instead of laying on top of IP, which could help solve these sorts of issues. That's at a really high level. But coming up with a way that actually addresses the congestion, totally 100% on board with that, Adam. Good point.
Can I read this next one?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Chris has another goat report. He says, I'm a little behind on episodes due to work, but I have my own annual goat story. The city uses goats annually to clear the grass on the hillsides up here in the hills of East Bay. They simply erect a temporary electrified fence and then unload a few trailers worth of goats for a few days, and until they mow it all down. It's a very green approach, though the renewable remnants smell awful. They also tend to bleed a lot, and the billies feel compelled to ram each other for an unusual sound infusion on my corporate con calls.
Sorry, it's a goat day, guys. I'm going to have to call you back a little bit when the billies calm down.
Yeah, that is something I've seen that actually in San Francisco. Sometimes on the side of the highways, they drop off some goats to clear out the brush. They do a great job.
Yeah, they work for cheap.
They work for food, I guess.
Tin cans. You just pay them in old rags.
Goats are kind of awesome. I love them.
Yeah. I had no idea how enthusiastically people would embrace that goat story when we threw it in the other day. But story that came out of our subreddit. So there you go. It's the spice of life. How's it feel? Your first official co-contributor day, Veronica.
I felt good. I felt like it went okay. We talked about some emojis.
I think it went great.
It went great. You happy?
Talking
I'm not
about
fired.
goats. I'm
not gonna
super
fire me,
happy.
Jason
Well, I
Hunt
can't.
style.
The bosses hired
Bosses
you.
aren't going to fire me.
Yeah, I don't think so. Thank you to everybody that made this happen. As we said, Jenny's so good. We're already mostly booked out for May, so we might not get Veronica and Scott on every week this month. It'll be June before we really get all the schedule worked out and get the rhythm going. But we're making them official as of now. So thank you. Our next goal is the video goal. If you want video, that's the goal to be focused on. But honestly, I'm super happy. So just covering the generosity of our one contributor to help push us over the edge. Oh, I'm really concerned about right now. So if you have been getting some value out of the show and you haven't get some value yet, now's your chance. dailytechnewsshow.com/support for all the ways to support the show. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. Listen to the show live at alphageekradio.com. Visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com. And I was so excited about congratulating the contributors, I forgot to mention veronicabelmont.com. She does all kinds of cool stuff. Go check that out. We'll be back tomorrow with Patrick Beja. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
They're giving you your performance review in the chat room right now.
Oh, good. Okay. I forgot to talk about my earrings. My May the 4th be with you.
Oh, well, you can talk about them now.
I'm wearing my Darth Vader earrings. No one can see them.
It's good post-show material.
Yeah, good post show.
We also have really good titles.
Oh, what do we got?
So far we've got the one with the most votes is Showerhead. Let's see what that second one is against.
Is that a monitor? Is it a computer monitor?
Showerhead, like 3-pin. No, there's one. Oh, I guess that's the water coming out.
I think that's
of
the water.
shower.
Okay, yeah.
I see. It looked like musical notes. So showerhead, computer display, iPhone. Then we've got Essence of Life, toilet and chicken, which is amazing. Then we've got corncob, smiling, poop, blinky face. A non-emoji related one, which was, have you turned the plane off and turned it on again?
Hopefully while on the ground.
Oh, I like the plane one's pretty funny. It's kind of long, though.
Yeah.
And then we have our daily Who Watches the App Store. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yes.
Ms. Belmont, if a geeky.
What about just power cycle the plane? Just power cycle the plane. That's not as funny.
Just power cycle. I actually I want to go with Essence of Life, toilet, and chicken.
Yeah.
Because that way the emojis will show up where they can, but when they don't, it'll still work. If we go showerhead, monitor, phone, then it has no fail safe.
The other one is communicable emoji, which I really like.
I caught your emoji.
The second I said that, I was like, that's not the word I was going for.
W. Scottis
Well, it was the word, it was just not the meaning.
Which was toilet bowl plus chicken equals 42, which I liked.
Yeah, that one's good too. It doesn't give me as much fail safe is the only reason that I think I prefer Essence of Life.
Yeah.
Is that a chicken breast? Also, you said chicken boob on the show.
I did. I say boob on a lot of shows.
You do.
Boob.
Really, George?
What? Was it actually fine? Is that the right way of using that word?
Which way?
Communicable? I don't think so.
I didn't correct you because I'm like, there's a way that would make sense. I don't think it was what you were after exactly, but it wasn't wrong.
Words are hard sometimes.
I just think that the most.
How about a chicken booby?
The most prevalent usage of that word has been co-opted to something else, but I don't think it's necessarily wrong in any way.
Yeah, I think
also, I've given up on words being wrong because the more you read poetry, no words are wrong.
Words are wrong.
Like the
Your words are
best
wrong.
poetry is when the juxtaposition of words that don't necessarily make sense, because then you end up with communicable emoji, and that didn't happen before. That's just
Let's see what the
that's my writer
ID3
rant.
tags
Sorry.
take. They did. They took it as,
Oh.
as Unicode. Ooh. I know there's going to be some podcatchers that are going to barf on that.
Yeah, barf all over it.
Well, get ready for the
up next,
emails.
Cord Killers. Whew, what a day.
Right, you're on Cord Killers today.
Yeah, TNS
Did you watch
this
Game of
morning.
Thrones?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. That episode changed my entire outlook on Game of Thrones, by the way, including the
Really?
books.
I'm interested to. I have to go read the Wired article that always tells me what things I don't remember happened in
Oh,
the
I
books.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't read it either.
There's a good column. I can't remember who does it, but she does a great job of going. This was in the books. This wasn't, so that you can go, okay, right. Because I get confused after I watch a TV show. I can start to have false memories implanted in me.
Yeah.
False memories. Check it and see.
Wait, are you singing Foreigner?
Yes.
You
No,
just-
that's not Foreigner. It is
Hot-blooded?
Foreigner.
Yeah.
It is. I always get that in Boston mixed up because
You turned false memories into hot-blooded.
I can't. It's a thing for me now. It's been so embedded in my consciousness that it just comes up subconsciously.
Embedded.
Check it and see.
So it's basically any three-syllable
Yeah,
word.
exactly.
Okay. Did
Let-
you watch Daredevil?
Mm-mm.
I'm up
Oh,
to
so
episode
good.
3. And you,
I
good.
think it may be the best thing Netflix has done.
I
I
will
think it is.
I will honestly
I
say
think it absolutely is. It's. Can I just say my one Daredevil theory, and then I'll cede the floor forever, I promise. Which is that the most amazing thing about seeing Age of Ultron this weekend, there's no spoilers, nothing spoilery coming, is that how far TV storytelling and movie storytelling have diverged, and how the disciples, the TV showrunner disciples of Joss Whedon, have kicked storytelling's ass all over the schoolyard, and they're so good at it, and then you get to a tentpole being directed by Joss Whedon, and you're just like, damn, this is movies problems right now. All right, I'm done. Sorry.
Oh wait, are you saying that the storytelling in Daredevil was superior?
No, I don't want to use superior. I'm just saying, like, it's ironic that the people running the first season of Daredevil all worked on Buffy and Angel, and they all have been able to run with that type of storytelling. And then the guy who set them on their path is doing this big tentpole where he's got
Got
like,
it.
meetings about more explosions, and then a meeting about the other explosions. And
So
I don't know.
my
It's
theory
ironic.
behind
I don't
that-
make any comment on it either way.
I mean, my theory behind that is there's so much money plowed and into large blockbuster movies, and oftentimes this money doesn't come from studios. It comes from banks, investment firms that, you know, will back your whatever movie budget because they expect to have an X amount of return. So when you do make a movie, you are actually kind of hamstrung. You don't have this. You know, this is the whole thing about indie movies. You're not tied down with all these financial concerns that you will have if you do like a big, summer or pre-summer blockbuster movie, because suddenly everyone has an interest in it because they put their money in it. I think Daredevil. The thing is, like, the first episode of Daredevil, I wasn't really over the moon at, but the second and third episodes, I really like the show now. And I think it's, part of it's a new show, and you have to get things up to speed, and they always start off slow. But yeah, I'm excited. I just haven't had time to sit down and watch through an episode without stopping and changing diapers and restarting. And it's like, oh, what did he say? I have to go wind it back a few minutes.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty rocking.
SoundCloud seems to be willing to accept the emojis.
Also, Bob Gunton is in Daredevil. Like, what's not to love?
Wait, who's Bob Gunton?
From Shawshank Redemption,
Ah,
the warden.
got it.
Which one was he?
In Daredevil?
Mm-hmm.
The financier.
Oh, that guy. Leland.
hungry. I gotta go eat my lunch or I'm gonna die.
Oh, go eat your lunch.
Okay.
Go
I'll
eat
talk to you in
lunch.
a
Thanks
few
for
on
being
Cord
on our
Killers.
show.
Okay, I'll see you on Cord Killers. Bye.
Good job.
Woo!
Bye.
She's gotta eat lunch now. Now I want to do it to everything.
Yeah, it's really, it's just, you can't help it.
She's probably going to eat some chicken, I would think. Don't you think?
Yeah. I'm trying so hard to sit on all my Avengers thoughts because I know.
Sorry.
No, just general, you and most of the human population. So it's so
See,
hard.
this is the problem with our anti-spoiler culture. It's tyrannical. I'm not blaming Roger, by the way.
No,
I think it's one thing to be like, oh, okay, a member of our close-knit crew here, doesn't want to be spoiled. I respect that. But then there's still that wider, like, well, I can't talk about it in public. Like, oh, really? That's going to cause that is more dangerous than emojis to our culture.
Wow.
True.
So you're implying that I'm at fault. Not explicitly. Just
No, I was trying very hard to carve out an exception for you because I do think it's different when you're in a small group to be like, oh, okay, don't do that. But then, like, to not be able to talk in general about it, I don't know, something different about that.
I feel like after the weekend, you can talk about it in general.
Hey, we sold some Blackwing 602s.
Oh, nice.
Russell Manthe just wrote in and said, I completely forgot about those pencils, ordered some from Amazon, and they arrived today. He sent a picture.
Yay!
That's really cool.
We really need an Amazon referral code.
We have one, I think.
Do we?
We should use it.
Yeah, we should use it.
Oh, yeah, we do. We totally have one.
We should use it.
Yeah, we should use that. I think it's Subbrill something or other. Fight apathy or don't.
Don't care.
So I had an interesting thing going on in my Facebook feed right now, which is I just changed. I always forget about this every couple years. I just changed my news feed from top stories to most recent, and posted about it because I was getting super annoyed at the stuff that was showing up in my feed. And I just got this wave of people on my Facebook post that were like, I have to change it back to most recent like 3 or 4 times a day. And we're trying to figure out why.
Oh, it doesn't stick. Yeah,
It
it's a
doesn't
bug.
stick for this one guy. God.
He's contact Facebook. It's probably a database.
The quality of my newsfeed improved so much by doing that. It was amazing.
Yeah. How do I find... Oh, everything's changed. Archive.org just flipped to their new design.
Oh, archive.org?
Yeah, so everything's taking me twice as long.
I don't like it.
I'm not sure if... I'm not going to say I hate it because it's new. And that always makes you want to hate anything.
Things that I could find just by looking.
But see, that's always the case whenever they change anything. So, because I'm having exactly the same problem, but I don't know if that's just because it's new. And I'm like, well, I used to be right here, and now it's over there. So, I know what that's like. Nobody ever likes change, but
I will revise
it's definitely
from
making me
hate
slower because things are all in
to
different
dislike.
places. Did they archive the old one? That's good, Metal Freak. I like that. Oh, the first failure of the emojis is not really a failure, but the link to the file on SoundCloud doesn't obviously include the emojis for obvious reasons. So far, everything else has it. What did WordPress do in live? Essence of Life. Capital toilet. They look different than they do when I paste them. They're a different chicken and a different toilet. Interesting. But they're there. Can emojis be capitalized?
That'd be amazing.
Is this the capital chicken, not the lowercase chicken? All right. Well, I'm out of the post. So thanks, everybody, for watching. And go have some chicken or textured soy chicken substitute.
I don't like those.
We'll see you tomorrow.